I got a cookie. I got cookies. I got cookies. Hey, hey, hey. Did anyone read yesterday's book and just really want a cookie? Yeah, I did. So I went and got some. Oh my gosh. Those were actually disgusting. We're gonna have to read today, figure out what happened with those cookies. I'm about to share my screen. All right, fourth graders, today, put these cookies to the side. We're reading chapter 11 together, we're starting lesson 11. We're reading chapter 2 in Malone Makes a Million, and we're gonna start with some vocabulary. So the first vocabulary word today is enveloped. Sounds a lot like envelope, right? Like an envelope you mail something in. So if you're enveloped, the baby is enveloped, I can't say that word very well. Enveloped tightly in a blanket to keep him warm. So he's wrapped really tight. So that means you are wrapped in it. It is surrounding you. So that is what enveloped means. The next vocabulary word that we're doing today is quality. So that cookie I just ate wasn't the best quality. It didn't taste very good. But in the example on here, I said it was with shoes. So my shoes were not good quality, and they fell apart after a few weeks. So would it be the shoes on the left or the shoes on the right? It'd be the shoes on the left. So quality means they are good. They stand together, they work, they function well. So if they're made of good quality, they're made very well. So again, I challenge you to use these words in a sentence if you can and show them to your teacher later, because these new vocabulary words are very good, and I feel like you can use them in a sentence, and there are 2 examples for you right there. So that is your challenge for today. What are you learning? You can use text evidence to describe events in the story. So we're really focused about what is happening in the story today. Quality ingredients. So we're going to see what quality ingredients are they using in their cookies. Here we go. Eggs, Gordy called out. Check, answered Max. Flour? Check. Sugar? Check. Gordy continued to read off all the list of ingredients on the back of the package of chocolate chips. Well, Max checked to see what was in stock in his kitchen. Baking soda? Gordy read on. No baking soda, said Max. But we've got baking powder. Good enough, said Gordy. Okay, that's everything on the list. We're all set. Gordy was just as excited as Max was about making $1 million and was anxious to start their business. He had wasted no time in getting over to Max's house. Got my little arrow, so let's get that out real quick. All right, so he wasted no time getting over to Max's house. Then let's do it, said Max as he preheated the oven to 375 degrees, the way his mother always did when she baked cookies. Hey, wait a minute, interrupted Rosalie, who had been standing by watching and hoping to be asked for help. You can't use that recipe. What's the point? Anyone can bake those cookies. You need an original recipe, like Anthony Baker had. Max tucked his chin in the space between his thumb and index finger and did some heavy thinking. Rosalie is right, he had said finally. We've got to change the recipe by adding some other ingredients too. May I make a suggestion? Said Mrs. Malone, who had gotten off the phone just in time to hear that last remark. First, bake the cookies using the recipe on the back of the package. Then, once you get it perfect, you can vary it here and there and do a little experimenting. That'll take too much time, said Max. We want to get started on the baking right away. He took out 2 bowls, measuring cups, and spoons, and his mother's electric hand mixer. While Gordy began combining the flour, baking powder, and salt in one bowl, Max measured the white and brown sugars, butter, and vanilla into the other. Oops, said Gordy. I seem to have lost some flour. Max looked up from his bowl to see Gordy enveloped in a cloud of all-purpose flour. He also noticed that there was more flour on the counter and on the floor than there was in the bowl. So this next page is funny because it shows a picture of that, how he's enveloped in that cloud of flour. It is all over the place. That's okay, said Max. Just add some more. I don't know how much I spilled. Guess, said Max. What's the difference? It's an original recipe anyway. Think I'd better leave, said Mrs. Malone, touching her hand to her forehead and hurrying out the kitchen. What now? Asked Gordy. It's time to add our original ingredients, said Max. He opened up the refrigerator and discovered a jar of honey. He held it up to Gordy to see. Like honey, for instance. Honey is good. Said Gordy, it's a quality ingredient. So that means it's a good ingredient. My father says we should use only quality ingredients in our cookies. People appreciate quality in a product and won't settle for less. Yogurt is quality, came a voice that could no longer keep quiet from where she was sitting on a stool in the corner of the kitchen. Rosalie began to throw out suggestions. Cinnamon is quality, so are nutmeg and cloves and ginger. I was getting to that, said Max. And add more brown sugar. It'll give the cookies a rich golden appearance. Max added cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves, ginger, and an extra cup of brown sugar. I think that's enough original ingredients. He picked up the mixer, positioned the beater in the bowl, and pushed the switch to low. And we got a stop sign. So it says, focus question. What details explained why the boys weren't successful? So we're going to look back here at the end of the page and we're going to check. What is making their cookies not turn out correct? Hey, Max called above the noise of... Oh my gosh, I can't read that. Oh my goodness. Technical difficulty. Sorry, guys. Above the noise of the mixer. My bad, guys. There's something wrong here. It's not beating right. You forgot the eggs, Rosalie shouted to him. Oh, right. Max turned off the mixer and added 2 eggs, according to the recipe, and 1 more because of all the extra ingredients. He started up the mixer again on high. All the quality ingredients shot up in the air and splattered all over the counter and all over Max. He set the speed to medium and tried again. Everything blended together smoothly. He gradually added Gordy's flour mixture. This is easy enough, said Max as he and Gordy dropped spoonfuls of the mixture onto 2 ungreased cookie sheets. They placed the cookies in the oven and peered through the window of the oven door to watch them bake. Rosalie licked the batter from the bowl. Oops, said Gordy. I think there is something seriously wrong with these chocolate chip cookies. What? Asked Max. We forgot the chocolate chips. So that's the first thing. There's no chocolate chips in my cookie. How do you forget a chocolate chip? Crazy. Max slapped his forehead. I can't believe it. We forgot the most important ingredient. Oh well, said Gordy. This will be our practice batch. Rosalie pushed Max and Gordy aside so she could look through the window. I think you'll need lots of practice. The cookies aren't rising. They're flat, like pancakes. 2 very large pancakes, said Max as he watched the batter run together. So what did details explain why the boys weren't successful? So I think if we go back to when they were making the cookies, I think we might find something there. So why don't you look also? So it says right here. They said we've got to add something different. We have to add some other ingredients. And their mom goes, well, maybe you should just make the regular recipe first and just see how they turn out. Max says, nah, I don't need to do that. We don't have time for that. But I feel like if they would have done that, it would have helped them. Because instead, down here, on this next page, Gordy loses that flour. Max is like, just throw some more flour in there. It doesn't matter. We don't have to do it exactly like it says. Because we're not doing the original, we're not doing the regular recipe. We're making something original. Then they also added baking powder instead of baking soda. So that's different. And then down here, they said they put in honey. What else did they put in? Oh yeah, that's right. They put in yogurt. Can you find anything else that they added? Yeah, at the very end of the page, if you kept reading, they added cinnamon, they added nutmeg, they added cloves, they added ginger, and they added extra brown sugar. And then on the next page, when they forgot the eggs, they didn't even put it in the right order. They added an extra egg. Oh my goodness, they changed so much. So when the cookies were baking, they forgot the chocolate chips, first of all. And then when they baked, they turned into pancakes. They were flat. So I think just messing with the recipe that much really threw off the cookies. So let's keep reading. When the cookie pancakes began turning brown around the edges, Max took the cookie sheet out of the oven. We'd better try again, only this time we'll double the recipe. So they're not just going to put all the ingredients in for one, they're doing double. And we'll use the recipe on the back of the package. We've wasted too much time already. While Rosalie was nibbling on the practice cookies, Max and Gordy combined all the ingredients in 2 large bowls. This time they remembered to add the chocolate chips, so they fixed one of their mistakes. And I think they fixed the second mistake too, because they said they're going to just follow the recipe on the back of the package. They took out extra baking pans from the cabinet and dropped spoonfuls of batter onto them. These should work, said Max, placing the pans in the oven. Now let's figure out how much to sell them for. He took a pencil from the drawer and a pad of paper that said, "From the desk of Max Malone." Then he and Gordy sat down at the kitchen table. "All right," said Max as he doodled on the pad. "How should we sell them? By the cookie or by the pound?" "The shops in the mall sell them by the pound," Rosalie offered. Semi-sweet chocolate chips with macadamia nuts. I can taste them now." "I like the white chocolate with macadamia nuts," said Gordy. "Come on, you guys," said Max. "You're wasting time." The doorbell rang. It was Austin Healy from across the street. He was just 6 years old and didn't even care that his father had named him after a car. "Something smells good in here," said Austin, sniffing the air. "It's our cookies," said Max. "We're going into the cookie business. We're going to make $1 million. So the last focus question: what details explain why both batches of cookies failed? So we already went in depth on the first batch. So now we got to focus. Apparently the second batch is about to fail and we need to look for why. And then we got to see how might these have been avoided. "Can I go into business with you?" Austin asked. "I'd like to make $1 million too." "You're too young," said Max. "This is a real business. We're not just playing. Maybe when you're older." "Are you going into the pancake business too?" Austin asked, glancing at Rosalie, who was eating the cookie pancake. "Oh, that," said Max. "That was just our practice batch." "I think you've got 2 practice batches," said Rosalie. "Your cookies are burning." Max and Gordy made a dash for the oven. "Oh no," said Max as he began taking out the pans. "They're ruined." Instead of being golden brown, the cookies were a very dark brown with black around the edges. "I guess you'll have to try again," said Austin. "We've already tried twice," said Gordy. "I don't think I can handle a 3rd time." "We're all out of ingredients anyway," said Max. He slumped into his chair. He wondered if Anthony Baker had all of this trouble. "I think," said Austin, as he had helped himself to a piece of Rosalie's cookie pancake, "I think you should go into another business. Do something you know how to do." He helped himself to a second piece and walked out the door. So, now we're looking back at that focus question. Why did they fail? The second time, what happened to the cookies? It's right here. Sister goes, "I think you've got 2 practice batches," said Rosalie. "Your cookies they're burning. They kept them in there for too long. So how could they have avoided those problems?" Well, the boys could have taken the time to set a timer on the second batch of cookies so that they wouldn't have burned. You have to set a timer. Super easy to get off task, right? And then on the first batch, I think, what do you guys think they should have done? You can pause the video here and go look back. What do you think they should have done to fix that first batch? I think they should have taken the time to sit and follow that recipe. If you look back, I'm trying to find where she said it. Oh, right here. His mom, super smart, his mom. She said, first, bake the cookies using the recipe. She's like, just get experience, bake the cookies how they're supposed to be made. Then you can tweak them. I think they should have listened to her advice. I think they should have just taken the time, followed the recipe exactly, and made those cookies. And then they could have added their own ingredients and kind of tweaked it how they wanted it. So yeah, I think that is what they should have done. And great job if you found that without me. Great job, fourth graders. Now, your journal entry today is going to be super exciting because you're going to try and decide, what do you think they're going to do next? They just said, I think you should go into something else. I don't think you should be cooking. I don't think you should be baking cookies anymore. Do something you know how to do. We don't know a lot about him yet. We just know that, he has this friend Gordy. We know he's read comics. What do you think he's going to do? So and then you could even connect it to yourself. What would you do to make money? So that is your task today, fourth graders. And just prepare that for class. Also really dig deep and try to make some sentences with those vocabulary words today. And I hope you keep reading and have an amazing day. Bye.